Oh, hey, Meg.
Oh, hey.
Look at us. Different location. We hinted at this, didn't we? When we were live from a hotel. I don't remember the brand, but
I don't know.
if it's from Malone, leave it alone. But we're in our mobile studio,
Sure, let's call it that.
part of the Beard Laws studio, which the Your Town podcast is now a part of. I don't know if you knew that or not. But now every show that I'm a part or produce, we're Beard Law Studio. So you guys can search it on the Spotify and the Apple Beard Law Studio. You're going to find the Your Town. You're going to find the Beard Laws podcast, which we might rename. You're going to find the Triple T podcast. You're going to find the Body Wrong podcast, the Windbag Whisperers, a Parenthood podcast, Passball podcast, and I'm probably forgetting one. But either way, super excited to be in here. And the reason we're doing this is we're going to be doing a lot of camping. And there's going to be some times that we're going to have to be mobile. So hopefully this sounds and looks good.
Okay.
You good?
I'm good.
So we were driving today. Not that anybody overly cares, but we were driving by this destination that's probably, like 2 miles from your house.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very intriguing to me. We just kept looking at it and looking at it. And if you can read the title, you probably figured it out. It's Lake Bonaparte. And there's a cave. And I kept going, cave? And she was like, there's no way there's a cave. So we did some research, and apparently there's a cave. We found a really cool article. We're going to kind of read from the article, summarize it, and have some fun with this one. I'm super excited. Neither of us have read this article, and we think it's kind of a little bit fun. We're going to give you a backstory of how they named the lake, what about the lake, and some stuff like that. And I think it's going to be good. I'm intrigued.
Me
Are
too.
you? And the headline definitely got me, and I'm excited about this one. So let's try to do the introduction, and then I think we just jump right into this.
Keep in mind, this is an extremely small town.
Extremely small town. Like I said, we're going to give you details of the town, how they named the lake, and all of that good stuff. I'm excited about this. And the only reason that I'm excited is I really don't know, and it's very even more intriguing to me that it was so close to you and you didn't know about this.
It's kind of on the other side. Like, I never used to really drive past that part a lot.
True. That's my fault.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do the intro. You ready?
Ready.
See if it works. It didn't last week.
No?
Maybe it will this week. Let's try it when?
Right now.
There's a chance it worked. There's another chance that it didn't work. And it's Lake Bonaparte. Did I say it right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at me go. And this is it's an interesting, it's in the town of, is it Harrisville? Pitcairn?
I think it's in Harrisville.
So what's interesting is Harrisville, New York, it's a hamlet, which used to be a village, I believe, right?
Yes.
And it's in Lewis County, but what's cool about this school in this district, it's a tri-county, so it actually meets 3 different counties in the state of New York, which is pretty interesting. Population, according to a 2010 census, which apparently they haven't done in a while, 628 people. Does that sound about right?
Probably.
For Harrisville itself, obviously then there's Pitcairn.
Right, then you go outside and the Fowler. So this particular place might fall on the Fowler line.
Mm-hmm.
So there's Harrisville and Fowler.
Yep, and the town of Diana as well is kind of tied in. Harrisville's north of it.
And Pitcairn.
Yep. So there we go. But in 2018, Harrisville voted to dissolve the village by a vote of 112 to 70, pretty close. Mm-hmm. And then on December 31st, Happy New Year's Eve, 2018, they decided to make Harrisville a hamlet.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about this cave, and this is interesting, very interesting. In the headline, we found a really cool story, and by we, it was Meg, from Michael Clean, probably a cousin of Mr. Clean. Probably not, but maybe. And wrote this really cool article. Again, so picture yourself in a very remote area. Okay? In the foothills of the Adirondacks, pine trees, mountains,
hills,
rocks, lots and lots of rocks. Really no farms. And then you're just driving down the highway, and you see one of those brown signs with yellow writing that indicates it's a trail or something, which are located all over. And we recently downloaded the app All Trails. Shout out All Trails, not a friend of the show, but maybe if you're listening.
It's all state land.
And it's all state land. And we just kept driving by this, and I saw it, I read it, she's read it. I just thought it was another trail, but today it really caught my eye, and it said the Lake Bonaparte Cave. And I'm like, what? There's a cave in there? So we find this article, and it says missing jewels, exiled European royalty, old bones in Lakeside Cave make this unassuming spot one of upstate New York's most enduring mysteries.
Okay, I have to say, though, I misread it.
Okay.
Until today.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it said Bonaparte Caves, but it's actually Bonaparte's Cave.
Okay, which makes it a person, which makes it Joseph Bonaparte, who lived from 1768 to 1844, was the older brother of French Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte, who saw his fortune rise and fall with his more famous brother, which is Napoleon, which is a pretty... That must have been one of the most common names on there. There's so many people that were Napoleon back in the day. But Joseph and Napoleon, they were the former kings of... or Napoleon was the former king of Spain. And it said Joseph Bonaparte in 1815 actually purchased a tract of land from James Yore, part of which became the town of Diana. Harrisville, the largest community in the town, takes its name from Foskett Harris, who settled there in 1833. Harris constructed a sawmill, a gristmill, harnessing the West Branch of the Oswegatchie River for power to operate the mills. And then the early settlers discovered that the landlord John Lafarge, from whom Lafargeville, New York, takes his name, had acquired title to Bonaparte's land. They abandoned the area, and Harrisville actually languished for 20 years. And then in 1859, Samuel H. Beach and William R. Dodge built a massive tannery on the east side of the river, 228 foot long, had 160 vats, and was capable of turning out 40,000 sides of sole leather per year. So that's some history of Harrisville itself. And then let's jump back over to Bonaparte Cave. So again, we kind of know about that, and then we're going to jump to 1794. Joseph, a lawyer and diplomat, ended up marrying Marie Julie Clary. Mm-hmm. And in 1806, Napoleon crowned him King of Naples. And then there was an ill-fated French occupation of Spain. Then he reigned as King of Spain and the Indies. And after Napoleon's defeat and exile in 1814, Joseph fled to Switzerland with a trove of diamonds and jewels. But he made plans to leave Europe. Napoleon's defeat at the Battle of the Waterloo in 1815 sealed his fate, and Joseph landed in America in August 1815. Welcome to America, bud. Under the assumed name Count de Surveillers? Maybe? It was one of those three or four.
I feel like a lot of this is going to be very French.
Very French. Good thing you took French. I didn't. I took Spanish. Look at me go. Really paying off with all these names. Then you have James Leray de Chaumont, son of prominent French supporter of the American independence, purchased that large land tract in northern New York and the Delaware Valley, where many French people had fled after the French Revolution. Using his stolen wealth, Joseph purchased land along the Black River in upstate New York from James Leray. He named the lake at the heart of Diana, or the heart of his Black River property in Diana, but it would become known as what, Meg?
Lake Bonaparte.
Did you know that's how the name came?
I did, actually. Oh. Kind of, sort of. Not in detail like that, but we learned a little bit about it growing up.
Rightfully so, as you were there and potentially have a dad who is a history teacher. Mm-hmm. Pretty good thing. Maybe in these upcoming episodes, sitting over here on this couch or over here where Meg doesn't love to be there, we're going to get a historian Pat on one. He'd love this, wouldn't he? If we do that, we're going to bring an extra mic or two, though.
Yeah.
We can figure that out. All right. So we figured out Lake Bonaparte. Joseph was afraid his European enemies would send assassins to track him down in America, so he covered his home in Natural Bridge, New York, with sheet iron to make it bulletproof, and allegedly dug tunnels from his house leading to the Natural Bridge caverns. He built another home. How many homes does this guy have?
sounds like a lot, but the natural bridge caverns are also very cool.
Are they?
They are.
You
That
been
could be something else
Oh.
to look into.
Ooh. Spoiler alert, future episode.
They're really cool.
Let's do that. Well, want to go there and take some pictures for the socials?
I don't know if it's open at the moment.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe we won't go there. Maybe we'll get some permission seeing how we're like media and a pretty popular podcast.
Maybe.
So, Natural Bridge Caverns built another home. We got back up, and at the shore of Lake Bonaparte in 1828 is when he built this. The house no longer survives, but it must have been impressive because he actually hosted parties with American mistress Annette Savage. There are many places to hide in the wilderness of northern New York, which can confirm, I guarantee you, there's a Bigfoot or 5 kicking around here. So it seems strange for stories to circulate about a small cave on the shore of a pond east of Lake Bonaparte. According to the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, the DEC, Joseph Bonaparte's family fled Europe. It is said that they eluded hired assassins by hiding out in the rocky ledges and small caves on the northwest edge of what is today known as Green Pond.
Ooh, I've hiked there.
Have you?
Yeah.
Whereabouts is that from the caves, the Lake Bonaparte caves?
I'm not really sure because it's on a different shoreline.
Okay.
So it's like East Shore, South Shore, North Shore.
Interesting. Okay. So, that small cave at the edge of Green Pond. Oh, spoiler alert, it became known as Bonaparte's Cave. We know where it is. We drove by it. Well, we drove by. We don't actually know where it is. We just saw a sign for it.
I have a feeling you have to hike quite a ways.
Okay. So this cave, which gave its name to the 1,435 acre Bonaparte's Cave State Forest. Yeah, that would be a pretty big hike. There's 1,400 acres.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. There, though, is a tragic legend associated with this cave. Oh, I'm excited. Are you?
I'm curious.
Shout out Mr. Clean's cousin, Michael. According to the Bonapartes in America, 1939, by Clarence Edward McCartney, Paul McCartney's long-lost grandpa, probably, and Gordon Dorrance in 1830, a friend of Joseph, fell in love with a French girl, and the two seemed to want to go on a little romantic boat ride on Green Pond. But guess what, Meg?
What?
They never returned.
Dun, dun, dun.
There it is. I wonder where you were going to sneak that in. Years later, hunters, pretty good hunting up there, right? They discovered 2 skeletons inside the cave with a gold coin bearing the image of who, Meg?
Napoleon.
Ooh. This and a few other artifacts were enough to identify them as the ill-fated lovers. A rumor then persisted that the couple committed suicide there, though it is just as likely they drowned and their bodies were dragged into the cave by potentially a panther or a bear. Definitely a bear. Do you think a panther?
Yeah, we've seen them.
Interesting. And I have to imagine in the 1800s there was probably a lot more wildlife.
Probably.
I don't know that. I wasn't around, but...
Less civilization.
True.
But they are still around.
Mm-hmm. So Joseph himself only spent a few summers in northern New York before he sold his property in 1835. So stories of former monarchs hiding out in the Green Pond probably aren't that true. Can the same be said for skeletons of star-crossed lovers? This more than 180-year-old tale remains one of the North Country's most enduring mysteries. Bonaparte's Cave State Forest is located northwest of Harrisville in the West Branch Oswegatchie River in Lewis County, New York State. From New York State Route 3, take North Shore Road west to Green Pond. Bonaparte's Cave is located along... Oh, here we go. It's like a treasure map. It's located along the northwest shore of the Green Pond at approximate GPS coordinates 44.159147 by negative 75.368250. Those like some bingo numbers. There's even a parking area and trail, but this will not take you to the cave. To get to the cave, you have to take an unmarked trail off Bonaparte Road farther west. Exercise caution, since there is nowhere to park at this location.
So is the entrance that we saw not the entrance?
I'm assuming it's not. So it's saying that that the Bonaparte Cave is located along the northwest shore of the Green Pond at this GPS coordination. But there is a parking area and trail, but this will not take you to the cave. To get to the cave, you have to take the unmarked trail. So I'm wondering if where we drive by is the unmarked trail.
Hmm.
I mean, are you up for an adventure?
Because Green Pond is on a totally different road.
I mean, 1,400 acres. It would have to get there eventually, right?
Right.
Hmm.
Hmm.
What do you think, viewers, listeners, people of the universe? Should we go on an adventure? What do you think?
I mean, I like the Green Pond hike. It's family friendly. It's not too hard.
Mm-hmm.
There's a nice little like picnic area at the end of it, overlooking the water.
Mm-hmm.
People camp there.
The cave is intriguing. There's a couple of pictures again on michaelclean.com, and it looks like a pretty small cave from the outside, but it probably ends up being pretty big. But I'd have to imagine it's pretty unstable, that you probably wouldn't want to trust it and definitely take cautions. And it turns out we're not cave explorers, and I don't want. I've seen so many shows. I don't really want to go in there. What if there's actual bears just hanging out in there, or panthers? I mean, what are the odds that we're going to find some of these jewels, some of this gold? And there's a lot of stories that you do hear, whether they're TV, whether they're myths, where a lot of these European, Spain, all this royalty, where they do come over here and they store some treasures. Could you imagine this whole time if it was there?
Right? Be pretty cool.
Man, we'd be able to. Would we keep this camper if we found all that buried treasure and all the fortune?
I think so.
Okay.
I like it.
We'd be able to do a lot more shows from here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you guys enjoyed the kind of Beard Laws Studio mobile version one, please let us know in the comments. And hopefully this story was cool. Again, we just kind of came up with this and I couldn't let it go. I had to talk about it. And this was cool. Learned a lot. Did you learn anything?
I did.
I learned probably a lot more than you, but it kind of feels cool though when a story like that is, they always say so close to home or hits home. But I mean, it's within a couple of miles of your house and what, 5-7 miles from where you grew up?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. We'll have to.
I've probably seen it and not known it.
We should. Too bad we didn't get Pat on the phone right now.
Oh, right.
We might not. This 17-minute episode would probably turn a little bit longer, but so maybe we'll do a part 2 following up on this, or if there's any history things. He has a vast knowledge of history. Maybe we'll pick his brain to see if there's any stories that he wants us to cover. But if there's any that you want us to, as always, we didn't hit a new state on the map, but we have some true crime stuff. I feel like we can't just throw true crime at you all the time. We're not just a true crime. We're trying to find your town, your stories, and it just happens to be Meg's town, Meg's stories. So this is cool.
Yeah.
Any of the names kind of familiar that we talked about?
Yeah, some of them.
I mean, obviously,
it's funny because like when you were reading through the article, a lot of these names are now like road names. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like Clary. There's Clary still in the area.
Mm-hmm.
At least it's a name that I've heard.
Hermitage is a road.
Okay.
Is actually one of the lake roads.
Mm-hmm.
It's named called Hermitage Road.
There was another name that I thought.
Obviously Bonaparte.
Bonaparte. Yeah, that's a pretty important name there. There's another one, Donner. I think we said earlier or something like that. That seemed like that was a name that's still around. But either way, this was cool. Luray, obviously a town. Just pretty cool. I mean, you get some of these people, and this might lead into a future episode as well, but when we were talking with the previous Lisbon historian, she was kind of feeding some information how the tract of land in the area that we're living at right now could have been originally one of the first or the first tract of land in the entire St. Lawrence County. So we're going to dig into that. We got some cool stuff, but I think next week we'll probably come back with some true crime stuff, and then in the next couple of weeks we're probably going to see us in the Beard Laws mobile studio because we're going to spend some time in here, and we got the technology, so might as well use it. Mm-hmm. That's all we got. I'll let you guys go. Hopefully you have a good rest of your week, Meg. This was fun. Cheers to you.
Slasha.
That's all we got. So I'm gonna have a sip. We're gonna finish this in our camper, and hopefully you guys have a good rest of the night. Hopefully you enjoyed the episode. That's all we got. Take care, everybody.
Bye.